This episode of Biters is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Hey everybody, this is Diane. Welcome to Biters.
And this is Marnell.
And this week we are talking about the mid-season finale for Season 9, Episode 8, entitled Evolution.
You are where you do not belong.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Oh, man. You know, in the last 48 hours, the joke has been made 1,001 times, so this will make it 1,002. But Jesus, what an episode.
I'm really struggling with this episode.
I have very conflicted feelings about this episode. And, you know, feelings aren't something that I normally do.
Right. Does it hurt?
I'm shocked. I'm saddened. I'm excited. I'm terrified. Like, yeah. So I just have to say that in order to drown those feelings tonight, I have opened my bottle of the Walking Dead Blood Red Blend.
Oh, how is it?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you're not a red wine person, it's a blend, so it's palatable for the masses. It's a little drier than I normally drink my red blends, but it's very good. Like I would not pass it up. I mean, there's not a lot of wines that I would pass up, but hey. And it's funny because this is a bottle from 2015, which was the same year that our featured cast member came on the show.
Oh.
Do you remember 2015? It was such a simpler time.
I don't know. 2015 was kind of a rotten year for us.
It was. That's very true.
But it was a simpler time in many ways.
Yeah. Bruno Mars' Uptown Funk was playing on the radio, and everything was just chugging along nicely. And now I'm just chugging.
Well, we have that bottle and we have another bottle. I'm not sure what it is. I'd have to go look on the shelf. And I have not opened them, and I don't think I'm going to.
Okay, and I have to tell people, when we discussed this a couple weeks ago when I bought the bottle, you were like, are you going to open yours? I'm like, oh, hi, have you met me?
Right. Have you seen my wine glass?
I have an entire fridge in my in my garage that's dedicated to alcohol.
Not just red blends either.
Mm-mm.
Well, I am having, in honor of our really cruddy weather, because it's like 33 degrees and raining, some hot chocolate with some Baileys or Carolyn's in it.
Aw, that does sound really good.
It is really good.
Yeah, I think tomorrow I'm going to do some hot apple cider with mulling spices.
Ooh, that sounds really good too.
It's super good with rum.
I think someone was saying apple cider mimosas are really to die for.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol just makes everything better.
Even really conflicted feelings around mid-season finales.
Yes.
So
what was your
I was going to say,
rating?
that said, how did you rate it? I'll go ahead and go first. I gave it 4.25 out of 5 ad infinitum perambulations.
Oh, wow. We were at opposite ends of the spectrum.
Really?
4.9 odor molecules in your nasal passage. I loved this episode for everything that it was.
So I liked it. I didn't think it was the greatest episode ever, but I liked it. I couldn't rate it below a B.
And if you've listened to us before, you know that I'm just going to totally pull her onto my side. by the end of the episode, she's going to be rating it higher. There was just so much.
There was so much. And there were some things that I really loved, and my bad was relatively small, which again was why I couldn't rate it below a B.
Oh, my bad was actually big, but it was nothing bad about the show. It's bad about the people in the show, not the actors, the characters, the just, yeah.
Right, let's be clear.
People are awful.
Well, I hate to say it, but yeah, generally speaking, I have a tough time with humanity.
Yeah, dogs are way better. Yeah. And speaking of dogs, my dogs are enjoying The Walking Dead a lot more now. They're way more engaged. The black lab is terrified every time, like, Daryl's dog is barking at walkers. Like, she is just, like, frantic at the TV.
That is hilarious. So Dog has 2 Alaskan fans.
Yeah, the husky is usually very nonplussed about stuff, and even he's like, what is going on over there?
Why is that dog dogging?
Makes me wonder what Dog is actually saying.
Dog is saying, I'm getting $3,500 per bark. Per bark.
Right? That's awesome.
So our numbers were a little better than they were last week. The numbers for this episode are 5.1 million live plus same day views. So we're up about 30 million views.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Not 30 million.
We're that was just fantasy talking. That was my fantasy numbers about The Walking Dead. We're up like 250,000 to 300,000 views. That's what I meant to say.
1 less 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with numbers since I bonked my head. What can I say?
And I stare at them all day because I'm an accountant. So by the time I get home, I'm like, nope.
So I'm continuing to watch and see if we have any numbers from episode 5, the Rick episode, and we just don't.
They must just really not follow up because, like, most people don't care about anything but live.
Well, but there is that site that I use called TV by the Numbers,
right.
And they have DVR ratings, but they have not caught up their DVR ratings since like the 21st or something like that of October for Walking Dead. So,
jeez, get on it.
Right. We're depending on you.
I know it's the holidays, but you can't take a vacation during Walking Dead time. So the title of the episode, Evolution. Right.
So, it was obviously about the conversation that
the walkers are evolving. Right. Read anything else into it, like the evolution of our group and our settlements?
We certainly could. I mean, I think you definitely could. We saw a lot of undercurrents in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wrote there were more undercurrents in this episode than there are at Oceanside.
Oh, maybe I should become a fisherman.
So I felt like, that is definitely something that we could read into the title as well. I don't think there were any specifics, but I think there were a lot of hints.
Yeah, definitely. It has been all about the hinting, and I'm just like, get on with it already. I want to know.
Well, and it sounds like they're going to. I mean, it sounds like the plan is to reveal some of the things that happened,
Right. And so this being the death of Jesus episode, Jesus will actually be resurrected because we will continue to see him in flashbacks.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the thing that I saw said that we will see him in flashbacks because they're going to tell us where the scars came from. And, of course, how everyone's relationship is so strained.
Okay.
So, yes, it is Thomas Paine's death episode, but we will see him again. At least for the rest of season 9.
That doesn't break my heart.
I know. That softens the blow just a little.
Just a little.
Yeah. Yeah, it was shocking.
Even
right?
with being spoiled. I mean, I was spoiled a little bit. You were spoiled a little bit. Not
Yeah.
entirely, but even with being spoiled a little bit, it was still pretty shocking.
Yeah, it came out online about 24 hours before the episode aired, and the article that spoiled it had the picture of Jesus in it and also said something about a character death in the title of the article, and like 3 paragraphs in, it just started giving you the entire plot of the entire episode. And so, yeah, a lot of people got spoiled. I was spoiled that there was a death in the episode. And then about an hour before the episode, they let it slip that it was a he. So, yeah, we're looking at you, Newsweek. That was all on you.
Oh, it was a Newsweek article.
It was a Newsweek article, and then comicbook.com picked it up too. So, yeah, don't do that.
I just, I'm going to say right here, and you can see my finger waving in front of the microphone. I get so mad about spoilers.
It's fine to have them out there, but warn a girl, like if I go seeking it, then okay. But to just have it like show up in your news feed or in your Twitter feed or anything like that it ruins the fun.
Well, and I'm sure people are going to say stay off social media. And now I'm even to the point where I need to stay off social media because I'm looking at you, Thomas. I have friends who change their Facebook feeds in ways that are not so subtle.
Ah, yes. Yes. That's
Thomas
right.
swears he didn't have any foresight or knowledge, but he changed his Facebook feed to be a picture of him and Tom Paine, and I was like, no!
Oh.
So that's having that foreknowledge that there was going to be a character death, and then having him do that, I was like, oh!
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually started to try and completely stay off of media.
On Sundays.
On Saturdays.
Oh.
Like, even starting Saturdays now, I'm just like, nope, I don't need to. I'll play my TWD OW, and I don't think I follow anyone on Instagram. I'll go on Instagram and like watch TV, watch the news, patch my roof, like go grocery shopping. I try and stay off of it Saturdays and Sundays until after I see the episode. And it's specifically because it gets spoiled.
Well, and now we've got 2 months that are spoiler free, so
knock on wood.
We hope, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I hope it's like the show on HBO with the dragons.
Game of Thrones?
Right? Game of Thrones.
Your favorite show?
Right. I totally drew a blank. I obviously have not drank enough. I hope it's like them where they film alternate scenes. They just film a whole bunch of stuff it's not in they just do it as a distraction. And if paparazzi are, filming from a tower, 2 miles away, it's misinformation, which is dictionary.com's word of the year. But so I kind of hope that Walking Dead kind of does take those precautions. And I think they have in the past where they'll film like 3 different endings to the season finale and you don't know which one's going to air. So
I know they did that with the Glenn Abraham deaths. They filmed a couple of different versions because they also wanted the characters to not know.
That's right. See, I absolutely love it when they do that. It's, misdirection. I love it. It helps us all not to be spoiled if we don't want to be.
Well, now I'm bummed that I'm just going to have to stay off social media for 48 hours, period.
Yeah, like media, like you can't, like, cause like news feeds, like Yahoo news feed, it'll totally come up in that. Or your Google news feed, because you like The Walking Dead or because you search for The Walking Dead, here's 20 articles about The Walking Dead.
So I have a question for you. Have you explored AMC Premiere?
I have not, no.
I'm just curious because I think I may be getting closer to making that leap versus cable.
Yeah, you were saying that last
Yeah.
week. Yeah. Yeah, I watch the shows that I watch, and if I see advertisements for other shows, it's like what I'm doing, other than we're going to be reviewing some other movies with our favorite Walking Dead characters in them, I'm going to be binging the entire season of The Purge. So,
Aha.
yeah.
I have no viewing plans other than the ones that we have set up for the podcast.
And Aquaman.
And Aquaman, which I still need to get your mask in the mail to you.
Oh, that's funny.
I need to get it together. I'm looking at it right now and it's still creepy.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I don't have much on the writer and director. I'm just going to mention their names because we've talked about them so many times.
Mm-hmm.
David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, of the longest name in television history, was the writer for this episode. And Michael Satrazemis was the director.
Excellent.
Yeah. And we've seen those names multiple times. So if you have not caught an episode where we've talked about them, shame on you for not listening to us sooner. No, just kidding. Do look them up on IMDb because they both have some pretty interesting pedigrees.
And now's the time to catch up on the podcast. You can watch the entire first part of the season and catch up on the podcast and be fresh and ready for the
mid-season premiere.
Half.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, did you happen to catch when in February it's going to be?
9th? 10th?
Okay.
Whatever that Sunday is.
Let me look. Because I was watching Talking Dead and I kept saying, I've got to catch that date. I've got to catch that date. And I so did not catch that date. So it looks like it's going to be the 10th, February 10th.
Okay. Yeah, every couple of years it's on Valentine's Day, which is awesome.
Perfect Valentine's Day celebration.
Right? Because Valentine's Day is not a real holiday.
Well, unless you're Catholic.
I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. Do you? Do you do anything?
No.
No.
I think a few times in the course of dating and marriage, we've gone out to dinner, but not enough that I've been like, oh, well, I can remember this Valentine's Day wonderfully.
I was in a car accident on Valentine's Day. Not this last one. It was like in 2005, but yeah.
That would be enough to make it.
I didn't like it before then.
Yeah.
If I want chocolate wine and flowers, I will buy chocolate wine and a potted plant.
Right. You'll buy them for yourself.
Right. And yeah. I don't like cut flowers. I would rather have a plant so that I can kill it. So that I can kill it slowly.
I was going to say, I kill plants, so it's kind of the same outcome. Right? I guess you're right. It just takes a little bit longer.
Exactly. Just prolong the death.
You're a sick woman. I love it.
I have a podcast about a show about zombies.
Of course.
And one about a outlaw preacher.
Which we are getting Preacher back, maybe?
Okay, so if you are one of our, 3 listeners that also follow our Good News, the Gospel According to AMC's Preacher.
Well done.
Mouthful.
Yay.
Yeah. I haven't been practicing. There was a picture posted, I think, on Twitter where somebody had bought season 3 on Blu-ray, and there was a sticker on it that says, catch the next season in 2019, or catch season 4 2019. So, I don't know.
So is that going to be how AMC announces it? Is that all?
Yeah, I don't know, because it has not been definitively canceled. So that means it has not been definitively
renewed either.
Renewed. Yeah, so Preacher Watch 2018.
Almost 2019.
Right? They would have to start filming soon.
Yes, they would.
So.
Well,
yeah.
So featured cast. We realized we're pretty sure that we have never covered
Tom Paine
AKA Jesus, AKA Paul Rovia. I actually had to see that on his wiki entry to be like, oh, right, he did have another name on the show.
And it's so funny because I didn't see it on that. I saw it on the Walking Dead game.
Yeah, did you get those cards?
I did get a Jesus card, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so it was weird because there was people who get pre-release stuff on the game who test it out, beta testers. There was a side-by-side, and they had 2 Jesus cards with different last names on them. It's very weird.
Aha.
But,
so was one like a plain card and one like an epic card, or?
Nope. They were exactly the same with the exact same stats. Yeah, it was really weird. Let's see if I can go back. Paul, quote-unquote, Jesus Rovia, and Paul, quote-unquote, Jesus Monroe.
Uh-oh, somebody made a mistake.
Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that. But if you look at the screen cap, it's the same player who has it. So I'm sure that he was just a beta tester. And
it means that somebody was thinking of Deanna Monroe and her family, because that was Deanna's last name.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just pulled that straight out of your head, didn't you?
I totally did. My brain cannot hold on to numbers, but it can hold on to other useless facts.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
So Tom Paine, born December 21st, 1982, he's just a baby in Chelmsford, Essex, England.
I will bet that that's not the way you pronounce it.
Probably not. Chelmsford, it's probably not.
They, the last Big Brother celebrity series that I saw for the UK.
It's probably Chelmsford.
They had Kirstie Alley on there, and one of her tasks was to try and pronounce like 10 towns in England, or 10 cities or townships or whatever they have over there. And she got like 3 of them.
That would probably be me too.
Yeah, I mean they were showing them, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably how I would pronounce it too, and it was completely off. So I'm just gonna say Essex, England.
That sounds good to me, and I'm pretty sure Essex is pronounced Essex.
Yes. Yeah.
So his best known American stuff is Walking Dead. I didn't really see a whole lot else that looked like it was American.
No, and I find it interesting that he has nothing coming up.
Well, maybe this is all just such new news.
Yeah.
That they haven't updated his IMDb, or maybe he's taken a break.
To plan his wedding.
Right. Congratulations. He did say on Talking Dead that he is newly engaged.
He is. His fiancée has been his girlfriend since 2013. She's Swedish singer Jennifer Ackerman. So they've been together since before he was on The Walking Dead.
So she lived through his grueling Walking Dead schedule. She can live through just about anything.
Right? Right? I wonder if she wants him to keep the hair.
So I don't know. It sounded like he was going to keep the hair.
I love it. But,
I do too.
You know, if you go on his Instagram and anything before 2015, because after that it's all Walking Dead, he's got some great pictures of himself with short hair. So he could do either or. I just think he's a doll either way.
Because he's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great casting. I'm sad to see him go, especially because his character has a larger arc in the comic books.
Well, and spoiler alert to anyone who cares, it sounds like Jesus is still alive in the comics.
Yes.
I am not that far caught up. I am kind of in the Whisperer's arc right now, and I've taken a break from buying volumes of comic books because financially I just need to take a break. But yeah, my understanding is that his character is still with us. So, you know, once again, a major departure from the comic book series.
Right. But, you know, a pretty good one. And we are so way off book at this point that it can barely be considered source material.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who's going to be like, we are so off the comic book series, I'm going to rage quit. Ah! I am not one of those people who is going to rage quit. I've already been really clear about that.
So there was a ton of that with True Blood on HBO. The first season of True Blood followed the first book, like, verbatim. And they introduced a character that was not in the books that was so well loved that they changed the death at the, oh no, he was in the books, but he died at the end of the book. But he was so well loved, they brought him back in season 2. And then from then on, you could consider it the same universe, but things were so different. And I loved both for their individuality. Like, I loved both for different reasons. So, and same thing with Walking Dead. I love the books for what they are. I love the show for what it is.
Yeah, you can't see it, but I'm sitting here nodding my head with you.
Yeah. So, Tom Paine, mostly British acting credits. I think all British acting credits up until The Walking Dead. And if you see on his IMDb his Fear the Walking Dead credit, that is not a credit to come. That is a credit that has passed.
Right. He was one of the people who talked to Morgan at the time that Morgan was considering leaving Alexandria.
Right. And so we kind of went through this with the Rick Fear the Walking Dead credit because it was like, wait, what? But yeah, they crossed over for like 30 seconds, one episode. But wouldn't it be interesting, since we've taken a 6-year time jump, to go back in time and have Jesus meet up with Morgan at some other point in Fear?
That would be really cool, but I think he's been cooling his heels at Hilltop the whole time.
Yeah, other than his little outings with Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
But that would just be an interesting little funny thing. Just putting it out in the universe.
Just putting it out there in case Greg Nicotero's listening tonight.
Right? Take my advice. We have done well for predictions and direction of the shows.
I credit you with the turnaround of Fear the Walking Dead.
It was all me. That was all me. So yeah, there's not actually much out there about Tom Paine and his personal life. His Instagram is pretty funny. Like I said, anything after 2015 is about 95% The Walking Dead stuff, but it's really cool Walking Dead stuff. So, before that, it's, just your average, this is, here's my life, take a picture of your food and your girlfriend and puppies and yeah. So his Twitter is very, very politically active. So if you are not left-leaning, you might want to not follow him on Twitter or mute him if you have him followed and don't ascribe to that political leaning. But yeah, so he's very political on Twitter, but also just a ton of Walking Dead stuff.
And I'm doing my typical, right now I am following Tom Paine on Instagram because we're podcasting and you reminded me that I really should be following Tom Paine on Instagram.
And what's so funny is, I was doing some research today and we had talked about who we're going to do this episode, and I could have sworn we had done Tom Paine, but when I looked him up, I'm like, yeah, I don't remember talking about any of this.
I think he came on the episode when I was still podcasting, or on the series when I was still podcasting with Brian.
Yeah, I think I was just the fill-in co-host of Last Resort.
I think you're right.
So, but yeah, I started researching Angel Theory, and I've done that for the past 3 weeks because I absolutely love her.
So maybe next time. Do we want to wait until we come back to the series proper, or do we want?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't. A lot of the newbies don't have a lot out there because, this is kind of their big break. Except, of course, for Luke, who we did last week, and he's got a bunch of credits to him.
Sure.
But yeah, there's just really not a lot about Tom Paine out there. Probably because he's British, so we haven't seen a lot from him until The Walking Dead, because up until about 10 years ago, our British television was basically Masterpiece Theater and Monty Python on PBS.
And Doctor Who, if you were really into it and sought it out.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Well, I was thinking I would like to hear from our UK listeners and get their impressions of where they first heard about Tom Paine and if he became a household name over there long before he did here, or if he was just kind of a fringe actor.
Yeah, he's been acting since 2005. A couple one-off series and some TV movies. But he was a regular on Waterloo Road and Luck. And I think, so the biggest thing that I saw for him that I actually recognized was Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, which is a 2008 movie.
Okay.
I never actually saw it.
I was going to say, I recognize the name.
Right? Yeah. So I never actually saw it, but it did make it over this way. And then he also has a credit for the TV series Skins, which I understand has a fairly large following. But it's
is that an American series or is that a Brit series?
So it was originally a Brit series, and the U.S. rebooted it horribly, as we usually.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Watch the UK one. Don't
kind of the
watch
way we did with Being Human.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So yeah, he's just got the one episode credit for that. So I don't know if you could pick him out of a crowd in that, because that was 11 years ago.
Wow, I bet he looked totally different.
Right? If you go way, way back on his Instagram, he like baby Jesus.
I'll have to do that tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, I think because he's been on British telly, we don't really know that much about him over here. His IMDb lists a couple of things. Graduated from Central School of Speech and Drama with a BA in acting in June 2005. So that's right about when he got his break. Let's see. He's the son of ex-BBC trained British makeup and hair designer Sue Bide. So that's where he gets his great skin and hair. Oh, was screen tested for the role of Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal Rising alongside Hayden Christensen, Macaulay Culkin, Hugh Dancy, Rupert Friend, Dominic Cooper, and Tom Sturridge.
Oh, what an interesting group of people to screen test for that.
And for Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. I
could totally see him as a young Hannibal Lecter. He's got those steely eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see it. That's interesting.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you're anything like me, I know you're going to shop at Amazon this holiday season. When you do, please go to southgatemediagroup.com first and click on the Amazon ad in the upper right-hand corner. That'll take you directly to Amazon, just like normal, but it will also help our podcast network out. When you do that, our network gets a little commission on everything you buy on that visit. The best part is, it won't cost you a penny. You get the same great deals. You can even use Amazon Prime just like you normally do, but we get a tiny little sliver of what you spend. This is how we pay to keep the podcast coming. If you could remember to do this, it would really help support this show and our whole network. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And now, back to the show.
So yeah, that's really all there is about Tom Paine.
Well, I have a little bit about his reaction to the mid-season finale, which kind of surprised me.
It surprised me too. If it's the same article.
Did you find it?
I saw it earlier today, so I just read the kind of the synopsis for the article.
So it's an article at IGN.com. And he says, I've been on the show for 3 years and I was getting a bit stale, so I was ready to go anyway, he admits. And so then I got the call, and then it was just more about how it was going to happen. And I said to Angela, if he's going to get killed, it has to be by a lot of people because he's like the most capable fighter out of anyone. But then what they came up with was actually really cool. I'm happy because I had a really nice, really fun beginning and a really cool end. And the character introduced the Saviors and now has introduced the Whisperers, which is kind of cool. I'm pretty happy with that finish. It's a cool sequence.
Yeah, he talked a little bit about that on The Talking Dead, how it kind of bookended, introducing the Saviors and then introducing the Whisperers.
But I was shocked by him saying that he was ready, that it felt a bit stale. He talks a little bit about just kind of being frustrated with lack of character development over the past couple of years. He said, I had a chat with the showrunners last year where it was pretty obvious I wasn't particularly happy about it. I was a bit like, okay, let's do something or just kill me. We just need to just kill a bunch of people and I don't care if I'm one of them. I was quite upfront about that.
Aww.
But let's just kill people and give people good stories because that's what this show is. You never know who's going to die, so I was kind of pleased. I just want the audience to be shocked and surprised with the show, and I definitely think this is going to do that. And I'm sorry for them that it was me being that big surprise, but at the same time, that's what the show is, and it's a great twist, and I love that about it. I love surprising the audience. That's what the show should be about. I'm happy that I get to shock them in that way.
And he did so, because it was definitely shocking. But I absolutely loved the way he went out. Just that whole scene. I mean, could you imagine the terror of a smart walker? I mean, you've never seen a walker duck a blow before, and all of a sudden one ducks a blow and stabs you in the back. Like, that's just like every horror movie wrapped into one.
That was one of the things that I had seen about discussing the setting for the end of the mid-season finale. Mid-season finale is that it was really one of the most truly horror show endings and settings that they've had in a long time.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Like I said, I hate to see him go, but it was a great way for a character to go, and it was very shocking for those of us who were not spoiled. So I'm disappointed though that he thought the character was getting stale and there was a lack of character development because his character development was just starting out. I mean, he had kind of a couple of false starts before, but with Maggie being gone, he was the leader of Hilltop, and I could see that going somewhere for him.
Definitely. So. And so much for us shipping him and Aaron.
Oh, Jaren is no more.
So he said in the same article, he doesn't think there was a romantic spark between the two before Jesus' death. I think they were just friends. I think it's a coincidence of their sexuality and stuff, and they were scouts for their crews and they connected on that. That's not to say that something further down the line might have happened, but at this point I think it was just the beginnings of a good friendship.
Right. I think it was a bromance that could have become something else, but...
a bromance that could have become a romance.
Yes. Did you see them on The Talking Dead?
Yes. Yeah.
They were adorable. I love it when Tom Paine kissed Ross Marquand. The look on Ross Marquand's, I just want that to be a GIF. If the internet can give me anything this week, make that a GIF.
I bet you'll find it.
He looked like a little kid who had stolen candy or something. It was adorable. Yeah. So, yeah, he'll be missed.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So do we have any Whisperers Corner?
I don't. I was kind of looking around for Whisperers Corner stuff, and that's when I found the article about Tom Paine, so I figured that belonged more with featured cast.
Yeah.
So I guess we're on to our goods, bads, and uglies.
Oh, we don't have a Groveling Corner this week?
We don't.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we're actually caught up.
I have to admit I have not looked at social media, so if we have any fan feedback, that will be all on you at the end of the episode, if we remember.
There's just a little bit. I had put out there that we were podcasting tonight and wanted people's reactions to the mid-season finale, and my friend Michelle said she's so far behind that she didn't really have anything to add. And Phil actually put a picture of a GIF of Negan up.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So that's definitely something that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
So tell me your good.
My good, and I actually don't think I wrote it down, so I'm going to have to go through and find it. Oh, my good was the Whispers, the introduction of the Whispers. And just that whole end scene with, you know, the disbelief in everybody's faces about, you know, the walkers are talking, and then the one ducks and stabs Jesus, and we find out that it's people in, like, if Scooby-Doo taught us anything, it is man is the monster.
I totally thought of Scooby-Doo when Daryl held up the mask. I was like, Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. But yeah, I mean, to have, you know, Rosita trying to tell everyone you don't know what you're dealing with, and then Eugene, you know, like they were talking to each other, and then have Daryl notice that the walkers, well, Daryl, Aaron, and Jesus notice the walkers are behaving strangely, which I don't know what abnormal behavior for a walker would be.
Well, but just the milling in circles instead of like moving forward as a herd.
Yeah, and I find that funny that like there's abnormal behavior for zombies.
Sure.
You know? But I guess it's true. The zombies really just kind of walk in a straight line until they're like Roombas, until they bump into something and change direction.
Right. Or until they just keep bumping into that same thing.
And they spread crap around. So, I mean, they'll walk straight through water or straight through a swamp or off a bridge, or so I guess the milling around is abnormal behavior, but you know, they were in such disbelief, and it was like, no, there's got to be an explanation for it. And then all of a sudden they're in this creepy graveyard, and they're trapped, and they're surrounded, and you hear the whispers, and, you know, it starts to dawn on them that, you know, this really could be happening. Like, imagine how, like, take yourself out of like normal, your everyday life, and put yourself into the zombie apocalypse. And all of a sudden the zombies are starting to form strategies and talk to each other. That's terrifying.
Right.
So I love, you know, I think they've teased the Whispers for like 2 or 3 years now. Pretty much since it came out in the books, we were all like, when are we going to get to the Whispers? And we're finally at the Whispers. And I don't think they could have introduced them any better. I loved the introduction of this new bad guy.
Awesome.
So, don't screw it up.
Don't look at me, man. Look at Nicotero. Don't look at me.
So what was your good?
Well, my good was all of the tension with Michonne.
Oh.
It was so good. And that was when I wrote, there are more undercurrents here than there are in Oceanside. Because the way that Dianne was with her when she met her at the gate. State your business.
And Carol turning her back on her.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
I have underlined so much of Michonne's dialogue in my notes.
And the way that Tara was with her, you know, just basically like totally businesslike, and you know, she made that little needle remark where she was like, yeah, it seems like the old gang's getting back together again.
Yeah, that was quite the dig.
It was totally a dig, and it makes you wonder what exactly she's digging at, but there was definitely stuff going on. And then Michonne's refusal to help the kingdom.
Yes.
And her basically kind of putting Carol into her place, saying, you know, the kingdom is kingdom, Hilltop is here, Alexandria is there, and there's a whole bunch of broken world in between. And then she just kind of was like, it was nice seeing you, give the king and Henry my best, and walked away.
Right. And like, what could have possibly happened? Like, I have no idea. I cannot fathom. And she said she knew people would still be angry at her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too late Sadiq told her it's not too late to mend fences. And she says, it's not, but I won't.
Not the way that they want her to.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's like, at least they're still alive so they can hate me for it. So at least they're still alive so they can hate me for it.
What the heck happened?
Right. It was played so well. Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
I really liked it. And I just really liked the way that the characters interacted with each other, because it was stilted and awkward and tense. They played it really, really well.
They did. And they sprinkled it throughout the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very well done. I agree.
So what's your bad?
My bad are those darn kids.
Oh, they are terrible, aren't they?
Oh, they're like, I kind of have to feel for them on one hand. So here's where I give them a little bit of credit. Could you imagine spending 8 years at Hilltop?
At least 8, maybe longer.
Probably basically never even being allowed outside the gates. Like, your kids, they're not going to let you run around outside, right? So you have never left this, like, probably 8 square miles of fencing in your entire, like, memory of life. So they're a little stir crazy. And they've also been raised in where, walkers are bad. Walkers will kill you. We need to get rid of the walkers, blah, blah, blah. So they don't see them as having once been human. They have no empathy for them. They just, but then when the kid was like, yeah, we tried to bait the pit with a cat. I'm like, oh, you little sociopath.
They are self-indulgent little sociopaths.
Oh, if there's any fire starting, it's look to them. Like, they're little serial killers in the making.
Fire starting, bedwetting, animal mutilation. They've got the triad. They've got the triad.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That Rodney kid was peeing on a walker. He's definitely a bedwetter. Yeah, I like how Addie got disgusted with him and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry, had the grace of mind to, put the walker basically out of everyone's misery. I loved the scene. I thought it was great to add in, but like, it just reminds me of how terrible people can be. And, and the lack of empathy that people have for other suffering and other beings and things like that. I mean, yeah, you can look at it and say it's just a walker, but, that was probably somebody's dad or son or brother.
Mm-hmm. And
they tried to bait the pit with a live cat. That's just gross. So, yeah, that was my bad. I'm glad Henry hopefully learned his lesson and is not going to fall in with Hilltop's bad element.
I think he's going to take his responsibilities with Earl much more seriously, and I think that that's probably going to be his main focus.
Right, and he's also refocused his love interest from Enid to Addie, so...
Mm-hmm.
And she walked away in disgust, so now they can both,
be disgusted together.
Be disgusted at Gage and Rodney together.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because imagine growing up in a place where there's only like 3 or 4 other age appropriate people to hang out with, and 2 of them hate you.
And there is the potential for some wrinkles coming up. I'm just going to leave it there.
Welcome to small town Alaska, right?
Right.
Limited number of age-appropriate friends, and half of them hate you.
There are 4 people your age, and 3 of them share your gender, and you're not interested in them. So, sorry.
Right? So what was your bad?
So, my bad was relatively small, but dog barks too much.
Aww.
Dog needs to be under better voice control.
Does dog set off your dogs?
No, but I am really concerned. I think he's a major liability in the ZA.
It seems because Daryl was egging him on to bark, and he only barks when there's walkers nearby. So, well, that could be bad too.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really feel like at one point Daryl is telling him as he's getting ready to pitch the alarm clock for the herd, he tells him to stay. What does the dog do? He walks back toward he walks back toward the other characters.
Yeah.
I mean, all he does is bark when he's freaked out by something. He was whining and kind of half not barking, but whining and alerting to Eugene.
Yeah.
But
they were trying to get him to do that. They were trying to look for Eugene.
Dog is too noisy. Dog is dangerous.
I agree. Did you? I think it was Nicotero. It was the episode that Dog was introduced. On the Talking Dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Nicotero who was not loving the introduction of a dog.
Yeah, because they're so hard to work with.
Yeah.
You basically just kind of have to film around the dog. So I did notice when Daryl was.
Or maybe it was Cudlitz, because Cudlitz directed that.
Oh, that's right.
I think it was, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Daryl was getting ready to throw the alarm clock and he had told the dog to stay, you see them, right at the bottom of the screen, you just see the dog, run off screen.
Right.
That they framed that shot so that they tried to not catch the dog get distracted. But I agree. Nicotero, do not kill that dog, though.
Just get a Malinois who looks the same, who is under better voice control. That's all I'm asking, because I'm concerned that this dog is going to be a liability in the zombie apocalypse, especially with now what we know to be not just sentient walkers, but actually people in walker suits.
Yeah, definitely. Is your Malinois under good voice control?
I don't have a Malinois.
Oh,
I have a friend who's training a Malinois.
What's Juliet?
Juliet's a great pure. She's under terrible voice control. All she does is bark.
Okay.
That's what dogs like Juliet are hired to do. Bark.
Oh, that's funny. Or you could get a husky and listen to him howl.
Right, like the ones that I have outside right now. They're saying, "It's raining. What is this? It's the end of November."
Right.
That's exactly what they're saying.
We're supposed to get snow this weekend, so my husky is super excited. But I had him groomed, and he's got his season screwed up, so he's got this really thin coat, and he's just going to freeze.
Okay, you're cracking me up. He's super excited. How does he know it's going to snow this weekend?
Oh, he knows. He totally knows. He totally perks up. And when it starts to snow, when there's just a little bit of blanketing of snow on the ground, he just runs in and out of the house like a madman, because he can get to the backyard, and in the house they have free access. So he just basically does this like a madman for 20 minutes when it starts snowing.
It looks like we're going to have another weekend of freezing rain.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Gonna need more hot chocolate and Caroline's.
I am sick of this weather. All right, on to your ugly.
My ugly. My ugly was a good ugly, but I also kind of have to eat my words. And I've said this before. I was in the Kill Negan camp. I still kind of am. He should have been killed, but now that he's not, I love that he's free.
Really?
I do. Stuff's about to get real. And now you throw him into the fracas? Yeah. Everything in this episode, I'm just so very excited to see how it plays out. And that was a major piece of it. And I have to say that a lot of people were giving Father Gabriel crap online about leaving doors open, because he left the gate open to Alexandria to let a bunch of walkers in. Do you remember that?
Oh, is he the one who left the gate open?
Yeah. That was the episode where Dianne's husband got bit and Rick almost got bit. Do you remember that?
No, Deanna's husband didn't get bit. Deanna's husband got killed by the doctor.
They were at that gathering.
Deanna got bit.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. But yeah, so everyone was giving Father Gabriel crap online about leaving the gate open, but there was a guy in there with him that took the cuffs off Negan after Gabe left, and he didn't even notice that the door was left unlocked.
Okay, thank you. I noticed that too, and I felt like it absolved Gabriel a little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually felt bad for Gabe because people were giving him crap on that. But yeah, I just what's to become of him, because we're so off book, but he has a story arc in the books. Are they going to kind of follow it? Are they going to do something completely opposite of it? what's going to happen? He went straight to Michonne's bedroom with a shovel, so that can't be good.
And Michonne's not there.
Right.
Which is disturbing.
But then he saw the picture above her bed that was drawn by one of the little kids. So, yeah. It will be interesting. But I love that Negan's free. And so like I said, I kind of have to eat my words about being in the Kill Negan camp, because I kind of love to see him on screen. I think he was my good or my ugly last week, the week that he was talking with Judith.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy the scenes that he's in. So that was my ugly.
Very good.
What was yours?
Well, I'm taking a page from your book. It was neither a good ugly or a bad ugly. It was just Jesus's death. Because it was so huge. And I can't tell how I feel about it. So I can't say that it was a bad ugly, because I think it moved the story forward. I can't say it was a good ugly, because I was really unhappy about the fact that Jesus was killed off. I think that the fake out of the walker ducking was really cool.
Yeah.
And must have been really shocking, not just to Jesus, but to the people who were watching it.
Yeah. Like I said, imagine the terror in your mind if you're in that situation. Yeah. I figured Jesus dying would be your bad.
No, it was definitely my ugly. And I just, like I said, I don't know if it's a good ugly or a bad ugly, because there was value in it, and there was, oh God, no, in it, you know?
Yes, most definitely. So I think that actually brings us to Rotting Potpourri.
It does.
We've gone through so much of it.
I actually have some more.
Oh, good.
So I felt so bad for Gabriel, who really, I think, is genuinely trying to help Negan. I think that he's doing exactly what he said he was doing, which is like digging and digging and digging, trying to find a human in there somewhere that he can help.
Yes.
So do you think that Negan needling him was just for the heck of it, or do you think that he was actually hoping that Gabriel would get distracted? I think he's always looking for an opportunity. Yeah,
that could be part of it. I think both could be true, because could you imagine sitting in that cell 24/7 and the only contact you have is with the people you can catch outside the window and the people bringing you your meals and emptying your bedpan? Like, nobody wants to talk to you. Like, he's got his ball in his glove. Like I said, it didn't look like I didn't notice any reading material. It's just, you would have to go stir crazy.
By the way, can I say as a nurse, it would not be a bedpan, it would be a chamber pot.
Well, and I was thinking it, like one of those Home Depot buckets with the
with a toilet seat over the top of it.
Yeah. That's funny. So yeah, I think both could be true. But he knows how to get under people's skin too.
Well, and like I said, I think he's constantly looking. It's interesting, Nick and I were talking tonight about working at the prison and working with inmates. And this is definitely stereotyping. So certainly if we've got anybody out there in the audience who has either been in prison or worked in a prison, understand that I'm painting with a very broad brush. Mm-hmm. But a lot of inmates will look for a weakness in an employee so that they can get somewhere, so they can get in
exploit
somewhere.
Them. Yeah, exploit them.
And I feel like Negan is very much that way.
Definitely. And you've got a lot of time on your hands to think of ways of getting to people.
So we know he was in jail for 18 months at least before the time jump. We know we've got a 6-year time jump. So he's basically been in that prison cell for 8 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to yourself.
Although it's interesting, I found that they really, they kind of have loosened up, like letting him have that mitt and the ball. There were some boxes next to his chair, so I kind of wondered if he didn't have some reading material.
That's possible.
He's got the window. Gabe is coming in and trying to do meditation with him. So, they really have, I feel like they've kind of loosened up as compared to the, we're just going to throw you in a hole and forget you, which is what it looked like in the first 18 months.
And that was part of my whole you should just kill Negan, is because it would be inhumane to just throw him there at, basically in solitary confinement and let him rot. I mean, you would go crazy. People do, and we talked about one episode where, it looked like maybe he was doing some self-harm, and that's very common when people are confined and left alone for long periods of time.
Oh, well, I'm here to tell you that, we don't really care about humane things in prison, so.
Yeah, that's definitely more truth than it should be. But you gotta appreciate, for as much crap as we give him, you gotta appreciate Father Gabriel trying to help him meditate and get through it, and going down there and visiting him, But of course, Negan knew how to ruin that.
Although one of the things I will say is, once again, inappropriate level of disclosure to Negan. Him disclosing the whole thing about Rosita being injured and not at Alexandria.
So, do you think that his apology was sincere to Gabriel when he was kind of done needling Gabriel, and Gabriel was like, I'm only here because of you, and I can't be with Rosita, and blah blah blah. And do you think that when Negan apologized that it was sincere?
Well, Jeffrey Dean Morgan said Negan never lies. Yeah, I don't know.
He's such a complex villain.
Which is cool.
It is. I love it. Like I said, I love the scenes that he's in. It is great writing for the character. Yeah.
So, did you see how everyone at the Hilltop totally scrambled when the writers came in and said, "Writers are coming, writers are coming"?
I did. I
was wondering if they were scrambling for weapons, and I was wondering if that was a holdover from whatever big bad thing happened that's going to be revealed.
Yeah, I actually didn't even think of that. I thought it was just a regular precaution of that we are wary of strangers. But I thought it was interesting that there was someone on horseback going and saying riders are coming, and he didn't notice that it was obviously Michonne and Sadiq. Two people that are not, and their wagon. Two people that are not unknown to everyone in Hilltop.
Right. You would think that even someone who's not a particularly highly placed person would know that's Michonne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's sort of unique looking.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that we didn't see them do that when Daryl was coming back, when Daryl and Carol and.
True.
So
do
maybe
you think
they did.
The difference was because they were? Well, no, they weren't with anybody from Hilltop.
Well, and they were.
Or no, they were. They were with Jesus and Aaron by that point.
That's true. But again, if you can recognize Jesus from a distance, you would recognize Michonne from a distance.
You would think.
But maybe we just didn't see them pulling everybody in. But I think they do it just as a precaution for any activity, any big activity they see.
Well, and I kind of felt like the people who are weak are scrambling to hide, and the people who are strong are scrambling for weapons.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I also noticed, and this is a really small thing, but Carol confirmed RJ's existence. So we have confirmation that RJ is a real
He's
human
not
being.
Imaginary. Yeah.
Right?
I thought we had already confirmed that.
Well, there was still some kind of conversation around RJ that maybe he was a hallucination of Michonne's, that at one point he was actually a child, but she had lost him and she was hallucinating him still being around because he doesn't look like he's the right age.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And then I went through my whole, well, they don't get a lot of nutrients, so babies could be smaller after
Right. No, and that's totally legit.
But in my mind, it was solidified that RJ was a legit baby. So.
Well, me too, but it was just nice to have it confirmed by by Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, and I've got to say, so this was the first time that I was like, okay, that's a bad wig. I mean, before I've been like, okay, that's a hell of a wig. But to this time, watching it this time, both viewings, they just had gotten to the point where they had not quite covered up the really short hair that she's got in the front, like right in front of her ears.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, if you had just paid a little more attention to how you put the wig on.
Because they did it, like, it was funny. It was actually flipping through Tom Payne's Instagram today, and he posted pictures of Jesus when he first came on the show.
When he had a fake beard and fake hair.
Right. And so if you go to the recent pictures, you can see, like, the difference in the facial hair, because he's got more, like, fine hairs that go up his cheek than the fake beard portrayed. So you can tell the difference, but it was still so very well done that I didn't know. Like, I would have never been able to guess. And then, Michonne's is a wig and Ezekiel's hair is a wig. Mm-hmm. They know how to do wigs. So.
And up until now, even though it's been like, holy heck, that is a big head of hair, I haven't been like, that's not a believable head of hair. Tonight I was like, the application of that wig, they blew it.
So, was it on Talking Dead or was it someplace else that I saw the kind of the reason behind her hair growth?
It was actually the kid who plays Henry who said it's because now she's safe. She doesn't have to worry about growing it out because Ed's not there to pull it and to torture her with it.
Yes. I thought that was so interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's such a real reaction from an abuse victim.
Absolutely.
And she would keep her hair short so that her abusive husband couldn't pull it. And now she feels safe with King Ezekiel and she grew it out.
Yeah.
That just, like, it sends chills down my spine because that's such a real reaction. It's a real emotion. And
totally.
I'm so glad that the kid who plays Henry pointed that out, because I don't think that I would have ever got it unless it was pointed out, but it's so real. Was that on Talking Dead?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So what do you think the whisperer meant by "you are where you do not belong"?
So
I think
Kirkman... go ahead.
I think they went over it on the Talking Dead, but I have doubts.
So Kirkman said that there's the potential that they're extremely territorial, and that may be what the Whisperer is referring to. And that certainly is in keeping with conventions in the comic book.
But my big thing is, like, this isn't their territory. We've lived here for 8 years, and then some. You know?
But we don't know. We don't know what their rationale is. We don't know how they draw territorial boundaries. We're going to find that out.
Yeah. Maybe they just consider wherever the herd goes is their territory.
Well, and I think, I had read a description of them as being nomadic, so I'm not quite sure either how they draw those boundaries, but I think that's what it is that they definitely do have a system for drawing boundaries, and they felt like Jesus and his group were inside of boundaries that in which they did not belong.
It's interesting because I would think just the opposite, that the Whisperers would probably be pacifists because they don't want to kill the walkers. They're living among them and not bothering, other people. And it's not like if the walkers get a hold of a human that the Whisperers are going to go tear them apart and eat them too. Maybe. I don't know. But it's so counterintuitive that these people that are wearing walker skins are walking around and are aggressive.
I think we're going to find out more. I think we'll find out a better explanation for why that's the case.
Yeah. And, oh my God, they sew themselves in.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Oh my God. Like, is there a flap that you can do your wrist? Like, is it like a onesie or something? And, like, could you imagine trying to eat with like the skin of a rotting zombie on you?
No, but now that you mention it, ew.
It was difficult to hear. I'm thinking it's really not practical.
But in some ways it tremendously is. I mean, it protects them from the herd.
Yeah. And we went through the whole, you can't do the meat poncho too much because you can get infections. So I don't know how, like, maybe they sterilize the inside, if that's possible. I have so many questions.
It'll be interesting to see how many of your questions get answered.
It will. And
because there are definitely answers to some of them in the book, and I don't know if they'll take the time to give those answers or not.
Right.
So I have to confess, it took me a second watch to realize that Rosita is the reason that Michonne and Yumiko's crew showed up at the cemetery. I was like, well, that's convenient. And then I realized, oh, they went out searching because Rosita was like, no, they don't know what they're dealing with.
Good catch. I did not catch that. I just took it on faith that they found him.
It made me feel better that there was actually something of an explanation. I mean, she certainly could not pinpoint where they were, but it made me feel better that there was an explanation for why all of a sudden Michonne and crew just arrived out of nowhere.
She, coming from Hilltop, point A, she knew where the barn where she left Eugene was, point B,
right.
And they were probably going to be somewhere directly in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that, luckily they were, and they didn't, and Daryl was trying to lead the horde away so they didn't have to, like, go out around, because then, it would be so easy to miss people, by just a half mile, because everyone's trying to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And sneak around.
Except Dog.
Except Dog. Yeah, we can always find Daryl. Yeah, I loved that the new group showed up and they're like, what are you doing here? And they're like, earning our keep.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the new group is going to sort of make themselves an integral part of whatever settlement they settle in.
I agree.
So, the alarm clock trick
didn't work.
It didn't work, but I loved it because it's straight out of, like, just about every zombie video game out there.
Oh, we've seen it before. I want to say that Aaron used it when we first met Aaron.
I think Jesus used an egg timer.
Oh, did Jesus do it? We've seen somebody
Aaron
do something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been a long, long, long time.
Yeah, and of course the Black Cat fireworks.
Right.
At least that's what I've seen that they're called. That's what they were called when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're still called that.
I don't know where he got them, and like 8 years in, the powder's still dry, and okay.
It's Gerald Dixon, man.
Yeah.
Dog found them and brought them back.
Right? He probably found one of the fireworks stands that's close to your house.
Probably. Because they are coming north in their spinoff.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I'm being totally facetious, but...
Oh, okay. I thought...
So I just wanted to also say that I know that there were people who were going to be kind of pissy about this being a cliffhanger, but I'm actually really good with this cliffhanger.
I am too.
It's not like Glenn Under the Dumpster. It really is a true old-fashioned, where are we going from here cliffhanger.
Yes. And there was just, we've had a lot of middle book episodes, and we knew that it was setting it up for the new group and the Whisperers and whatever happened between our settlements. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of middle book episodes next season. The rest of this season. I keep wanting to say next season, because
it's so far away. February is so far.
2.5 months.
It seems longer. It seems longer than the typical hiatus.
I don't think so, because like I said, it normally comes back near Valentine's Day.
I think it's just because it's been so good and it's gone so fast.
Yeah. It feels like there's been less episodes. Like, whereas there's normally, like, 10 episodes. We've only got 8. That's what it feels like to me.
Because it's been so good and it's gone so fast.
Yep.
Well, you got anything else for Rotting Potpourri?
I think we've addressed just about everything because it was all just so good. Yeah, no, I think that is it.
I'm not going to change my rating, but I still really liked it. I just didn't love it the way you loved it.
Oh, you know me, I usually bend towards the lower of the rating.
I know you do.
And I just loved this episode. It was so close to a 5 for me.
I think maybe I just have such tremendous heartburn about losing Jesus. Maybe that's it.
You know, I did initially. I've had 48 hours to process the shock, and knowing that we will see him in flashbacks, or at least hearing that we will see him in flashbacks. And I can't imagine that we wouldn't. It's not like he's going to play a major role in the flashbacks, no more so than anybody else, probably besides Michonne. But, you know, after knowing about Carl's death and them teasing it forever and it finally happening, and then knowing about Rick's death and them teasing it forever and it finally happened, to have a shocking death like this, I'm totally on board with that. I love to be shocked, and I love to think that anyone could die at any time. It's the zombie apocalypse, you know? And that we've lost Maggie at this point, and she didn't get that satisfying ending. And they say her story hasn't ended, but it just, that whole thing feels wrong. Someone dying in an epic way like this feels right. And
it feels a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, once I got over my butthurtedness about not being able to see Tom Paine on a weekly basis.
Well, should we tell people what we've got planned for the mid-season hiatus?
Sure.
So we're going to do a couple of movie reviews, and we are going to pick a couple of episodes and do some old retrospectives.
Yes.
So we know that we're going to be doing Love Actually next week. I'm going to force Marnell to watch a rom-com.
Yee.
Of course, because Andy Lincoln is in it. And of course... What?
Does anyone die in it?
Let me think about that.
If it's not a gory death, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, but there's a death before the movie starts that has significant impact in the movie. So, yeah, sort of.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get with a rom-com.
For anyone who wants to hear our take on Love Actually, we're going to post that next week. And then we will do, at some point, one of the Pollyanna McIntosh movies. Marnell is going to send me the name of the one I should watch. And,
yeah, not the bad one.
And then I figured we would pick a couple of episodes not from season 1, since we've done a retrospective on season 1, but maybe the seasons that you and I haven't done together.
Right.
So we'll keep people abreast of what we're doing there.
Yes.
But I think we both want to try to keep talking through the mid-season hiatus. So
yeah, keep putting out some content.
Yeah.
We have 2 hours a week to kill now, so I think we can fit a movie in.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So if you want to tell us what your favorite episode was, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/biterspodcast or at biterspodcast on Twitter and Instagram. You can go to southgatemediagroup.com or message us at Southgate Media Group at Gmail, or I think Biters at Gmail. I said it last episode, I think.
You know, I'll tell you honestly, one of the most effective ways to get through to us is to message us on our Facebook page.
Yep.
So if you are a Facebook member, that's probably the fastest way to get through to us. Otherwise, email us through Southgate Media.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can drop us a DM or you can post on the page.
Yeah.
And we try to respond.
Exactly.
And you can purchase yourself a t-shirt for Biters at Teespring and maybe get it for somebody for Christmas.
I was going to say, if you've got someone in your life who is a Walking Dead fan, just remember, buy it a couple of sizes too big.
Yeah. Or Kwanzaa or Yule or which one am I forgetting? You're
forgetting the Jewish holiday.
Yes. Hanukkah.
Yes.
Or my favorite, Festivus.
Or any one of the multicultural holidays that we've forgotten to mention because we don't rightly know.
Right. Other holidays are available. Oh, yeah, we will try and keep talking. Hopefully you guys keep listening and give us some feedback.
Otherwise, we will catch those of you who come back to us in February on probably February 12th, since the episode is premiering on the 10th.
Yep. But until then,
just remember,
take it one dead day at a time. Almost.
That was pretty good.
Have a happy holiday, everybody.
All right.
Stay safe.
Yep. Have a great holiday season, and check us out next week if you want to hear us talk about Love Actually.
Yes.
All right. Take care, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.